Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I feel like that's the norm. That's the norm introduction. And yeah, assuming we don't know the streets of YouTube, we'll just go with, for now, we'll just go with what we can go with. So the reason why I'm doing this video is because I, I am in so much it's not entanglement as such, but it is constrainment, I just got to work this morning and I'm just briefly going to share my story in terms of my career because I believe it plays such an important role in terms of where I am today, like emotionally. So I okay, like I mentioned in my first video that I worked for so many companies, and obviously sometimes one is trying to figure themselves out because you want to do big things, you want to be successful, and you want to be just push in your caliber. But then at the same time, most of us in that pushing, in that furnace, in that grinding, there's so much turmoil and confusion, and we find ourselves so stuck, like you don't even know what to take and combine it with in order for you to get to a place where you want to. But also bearing in mind that we are led, it's not by our own doing, we are led by God. So yeah, going back to my career in 2019, was it 19? Yeah, I received like my big break. I've always wanted to work as cabin crew, for an airline. Bear in mind, that's always been my dream. However, I never even got or managed to have the license or to get any like accreditation in terms of that spectrum. So I then applied for Qatar Airways in I think it was in 2012, if I'm not mistaken, 2012 or 2015. But I know that I've always been logging on and just applying. When you're just so determined and when you love something so much, you are just headstrong, like never mind who says what, you'll just go into their websites, apply, and just leave the application there. So I did that like most of my life. I did it with Emirates, I did it with Qatar Airways, with Airlink, with South African Airways. So I'd normally like on a daily basis do that, just apply and just check what the what do you call this? I check my application status. So yeah, I did that and I waited. So mind you, bearing in mind every day that's what I went through. Like I'd literally every day of my life before I start work, go into the website, check my status, and my status is just application received. And now you can imagine that I'm just like, Lord. So anyways, 2012, 2015, 2017, fast forward to 2019. Yeah, 2019, I get this big break in March. When I log on, hey girl, we are reviewing your application and you need to do a sundry video. Sundry video? Me? Okay, Lord, this is you are answering. And then anywho, we did that, and I did the video. I remember then I did it at my friend's place, Wawila, and yeah, it came out well. I remember how I was so determined. I even went to get a burgundy blazer, just to fit, the caliber. I mean, Qatar Airways burgundy. So yeah, I did that, and we did the video, and then we put it through, and then in June, I think, because they respond, by the way, like they take so long. So patience is key. So then I did that, and then they responded and they're like, okay, fine, we are taking you. So you need to prepare yourself. We need a release letter from a previous company and stuff like that. Anywho, I did that, and then I handed it in, and yeah, we are going. So I tell my family that I'm going to Qatar Airways. So one of the things that also got to me in terms of my aviation dream, I haven't discarded it, but there's a lot of constraints and there's a lot of like turmoil, like things are not working out exactly. I don't know. But like I confirmed, Buti, I live with my grandmother who is 81, by the way, and she's my mother's mom, and my son who just turned 7 in a couple of days ago. It's the 8th today. Yeah, he turned 7 on the 6th. So so I get this acceptance and I'm like, wow, my big break. Mind you, I've been waiting from 2012, 13, 14, 15, you know. And I'm like, oh wow. So you can imagine the gush and the excitement. And I can't sleep at night now because I'm like so excited and I'm thinking about this journey that I'm about to embark on. And I'm also thinking about how it's gonna work out. And I'm thinking about finally reaching my pedestal, my dream, you know, wearing the Qatar Airways uniform. I'm just seeing myself in Qatar. But at the back of my mind, my son and my grandmother, what is can to happen? What's going to happen? What's can, you know? So at the back of my mind, I'm like, you know, Lord, I know that you shift things. You know, I know that when it's time, you do indeed make it happen, and we've seen it like happen. And but then again, there's this thing: how am I gonna sort it out? How are we gonna work this one out? Then I'm like, okay, I tell my family, I'm like, Gran, I'm gonna be moving to Qatar Airways because they had confirmed the date, which was the 20th of December. So I had to fly then, you know, to Qatar, to Doha. Now I'm sitting at home and I'm like, Gran, I'm leaving. She's like, what? I'm like, I'm going. And she's like, your son? Me? I'm like, girl, this is my dream. I can't just put it off. I need to go, girl. She's like to me, yo, Palesa, you know, umuntu omdala, when she hasn't like given you like a full blessing because of the circumstances. That's what I initially went through. So she was like, Palesa, I get the fact that this has always been your dream. I get the fact that you love it. But my only issue is us. You know, what's going to happen to us? I can't apply for Meli. Then Meli hadn't gone to grade 1. He was doing his grade R. So Meli's my son, by the way. His name is Melikaya, a god of his own home. That's what it means, by the way. So yeah, so my grand was like, I can't apply, I can't do this online thing, I can't do anything basically for you, so what's gonna happen? So mind you, at the back of my mind, I've got that, but I've got my dream, I've got, you know, I'm like, something is gotta give. I'm gone, girl. They've taken me, yahamba, you know. So I started preparing in July, started buying a couple of things, you know, suitcases for the luggage, everything. You're just slowly buying things bit by bit. And but this thing is pondering me, it's haunting me. Like every day of my life I go to work. I was working at Motorvantage by then. It's a service and warranty company for vehicles. So yeah, so every day of my life I go to work and I'm like, God, how's this gonna work out? God, how am I gonna do this? God, why now? I'm happy, I'm so grateful, I'm so thankful, but I don't understand because there's also so much turmoil that comes with this, so much baggage, and I don't know. But all I know is that we've got an agreement, you know, and finally I'm gonna get to live my dream. Finally, I'm gonna get to do what I love. So anywho, I'm like, okay. Every day of my life was long. I remember it was long. The days were just so long. I was excited very much. But yeah, I think my depression started there because I'm like, God, first of all, you took away my parents, you know. Second of all, growing up, it wasn't easy. Yes, my grandmother pulled through most of the time. In fact, all the time she pulled through, and it was hard. And I watched her suffer. I watched her, you know, go through the most because she had to raise her kids, which was my mom and my mom's sister. And she then had to raise us, abazukulu, you know. As black families, there's just so much that comes with raising a child or children, because it's constraining emotionally, it's constraining physically. And half of the time I look at my grandmother and I'm like, girl, how did you pull through? Because right now I sit and I'm like, yo, how am I gonna even raise Umilikaya, with so much that's happening in the world? I know God has equipped me. God has equipped me. God has given me strength. He's embedded these qualities of a woman that all of us have, which is being strong, being powerful, being able to create a home and make it create a house and make it a home. I know that we are equipped with so much, but again, as it happens, you're like, yo, Lord, salat, like, kuningi baba. But anywho, so I was preparing, I kept on preparing, and obviously I had let my friends know and everyone know. And yeah, so fast forward to October, November. Okay, we're about to go now, girl. We're about to hit that big aeroplane. We are about to go to Doha, girl. Anywho, the final day comes. So I was so emotional at work, before the day. I was like, because I left like 2 days before I flew to Qatar, so I immediately resigned because I couldn't do it prior, because obviously things were going to take long in terms of the money and all of that. So I just did it 2 days before, and obviously things happened. They had to cut off whatever they had to cut off out of my Providence salary, rather my provident fund. And then we just speed up the process, and I resigned, and then I went home, and then I had to stay obviously a day before I flew. And now that it like it's almost happening, I'm like, God, I'm not even gonna go back. I'm not even gonna go there. Let me just cancel. But I'm like, Balasa, it's here, So anywho, I spent the day with my son. I remember I was like looking at him play, not knowing what's gonna happen. But I remember I had told him, because he's also like intrigued by airplanes, so he loves airplanes. And the minute I told him that I'm going to Qatar, he was like, oh my gosh, Qatar Airways, because we'd even like go outside and look at the airplanes when they fly in the sky and just like be excited, like, oh my gosh. And then they'd ask me, which one is this one? Obviously we'll see the logo and the body of the airplane, if it's Qatar Airways, Emirates, Link now, because there's Link Manje, South African Airways or Air Link, we'll just, I'll tell him and he'll be so excited. So he knew that mom was leaving, but he just didn't understand the whole vibe of I'm leaving to another country, literally. So I just watched him and I was like, nah, I can't do this. It's just a lot emotionally, because he's grown so fond of me. And half of the things obviously I do for him, because Ukraine is old now. So anywho, the 20th came in the morning. They took me to the airport. Everybody came through in the morning. I remember Kwaka was there, a friend of mine, Dimamzo, my grandmother, Papa, and we drove to the airport. And I remember when we got to the airport, they were like, they can't even see me get into the airplane. They had to we had to separate, by the waiting area. And then I think then it dawned on me that, yo, girl, you are not going to see these people. And by then we had heard that we're going to have to spend like a year. And then after a year, then you can start like getting leeway in terms of going to your family and accumulating leave to go back to your families and stuff. So it's like a year, literally 365 days, guys, without my family, without my son. Yo, I remember I was just tearing, I was crying. I was like, but then we went through. And obviously now I'm alone because the child wanted to do grown-up stuff, God presented. So I was alone, and then when I got there, obviously as we were waiting, I met a girl, started talking, and yeah, while we were waiting for the plane, to get into the plane actually. Then we got into the plane. It was so exciting. You know that feeling that you get when you're like, hey, God, this is exactly the way I planned. Like even when you look at people around and they're welcoming us, and you're like, hey, Bato, Dada Murimu, Hansona Ostamos, or rock star, like you are the guy. You know, so everything was happening, and I was just like, oh my God. Yeah. Bro, God, this is you. Anywho, got into the plane and sat, and I was like, I remember I sat to this next to a family, mama and a daughter, and they were flying to, I think they were going initially to Bali, but obviously they were cross flying, and they were gonna catch a flight from Doha to Bali. So yeah, throughout the flight it was nice, you know. It's one of those warm people that they even like catered, because they had like a couple of snacks and all of that. They catered for me, you know. They asked me, oh my gosh, you're wearing this uniform, because we had to wear like a formal, you know. They're like, oh my gosh, you don't look like us, we are just out here wearing our comfortable clothes, you are the girl with high heels. I'm like, yeah, it's my first, I mean, it's my job, I'm gonna go work at Qatar Airways, you know, my dream job at that. They're like, oh my gosh, congratulations. So throughout the flight it was nice. I can't even remember, I think it was 15 hours or so, I'm not sure, but yeah, I think something like that. 15 to, yeah, 17 hours, I'm not sure, but yeah, it was long. It felt like we spent a day there. You know, like we could literally go and bath and come back and sit. But anywho, I remember when we just got to Doha, because it all same was so good. We were about to land in a couple of minutes and so forth. Yo, and we arrived, then was dark, because we left in the morning, by the way. Then when we arrived there, it was, you know, the lights at night. And I remember when I looked at the houses from afar, because obviously we were about to land now, so you could see them closer. I was like, oh my God, this is so beautiful. Like, God, you, more than anything, you are a creator. Hey, like, we understand, like, yazini kuhle, you know. You are so capable of beautiful things and creating amazing things that are appeasing to the eye. What? Anywho, we landed. Oh my gosh, when we landed, I remember they were ushering us into a bus. Obviously, that's gonna take us to where we're gonna stay, and where I was placed, it was a commune called Mata Kadim. You know, when I got there, we took the bus. Oh wait, before taking the bus, as we were going to obviously do our like clock in to say that we are here, and you know, they were just checking if everyone is here and fine and all of that. I met a lady by the name of Uandile Ukwanele, you know. I remember meeting her, you know, in the rush, during the rush of things, like when you're at the airport and you're just going up the stairs and you don't even know what you're happy, but you're just being directed and you're just going, and everyone is coming down, some of us are going up, it's just chaotic. But I met her during that, and she was like in the movies most, and then she was like, hi girl. I'm like, hey girl. She's like, how are you? I'm like, I'm fine. She's like, oh my gosh, yo, I was in the same flights. I hadn't seen her because obviously the plane was big, so she was probably sitting at the back or something. And she's like, yeah, I just came up from the same flight. I'm like, oh my God, really? She's like, yeah. She's like, yeah, no, I saw you. And I was like, ah, let me just talk to this girl. And then we spoke and we walked together, and we, only to find out that she's from Soweto and I'm from Vosloorus. I mean, everyone who knows what if almost known if near Soweto, they're not far from each other. And obviously she's like from home, so she's like, it's a sister girl. I'm like, that's what is a keeper, you know. I'm like, thank you Lord. So obviously I started feeling at home and being relaxed, and yeah, we got in, and they checked us in, and the bus arrived. We waited for the bus arrived, and then they moved us to our communes. Then I got to Matakadim. You know, it was not a nice experience when I got there actually, because I met this lady, you know, I met this lady. So mind you, this is at night. It's around about now 10-ish, 10 p.m., 11 p.m., I'm not sure, but it's like literally ebusuku. And then I got in with my luggages and stuff, because remember now it's dark. I don't know, they just put me out the door and they like, girl, get inside. As soon as you're inside and you close the door, they're like, ciao. They left me, and then I went in. Obviously I don't even know where the lights are. Like, it's dark, and I had to switch on my phone, a torch on my phone, and then I I managed to find the switch, and then I switched on the lights. Then I went in, and how it's structured is that it's like kind of a sitting room, and then there's 2 bedrooms, there's a bathroom and a kitchen. So two girls share the 1 bedroom, and other 2 girls share the 1 bedroom. So yeah, that's how they work it out. And then when I got in, obviously I've got my stuff, my bed number and everything. We're sharing, remember. Apologies. So excuse me, we share. So obviously we sleep in single beds because the room is not so big. When I got in, I remember the lady, she was from Kenya. I can't even remember her name. I switched on the light in the bedroom, because the light I switched on was the one in the kitchen, you know, in the aisle and stuff. Yo, girl was jumping bed, and she was like, girl, do you understand that I had a long shift? You can't just come in and switch on the lights. I'm like, girl, what do you expect? Do you want me now to walk around like a ghost in the dark? Are those your intentions? Do you like, I just came from a long flight, dude. I don't even know this place, so you can't come and give me that. And then she was like, yeah, no, I'm so sorry, but I wish you could understand the shift. I'm like, first of all, I don't know you, don't know me. I don't want us to have this, because we're gonna live together, so it cannot be this unofficial and, you know, this work. And so I got emotional, because I'm like, yo, hi Baba, maybe I should just go back home. You know, imagine arriving to a place that is like miles away from your home, and you get you arrive to such a person, you know. So I was like, nah, this is not for me. And then I remember that night I just opened up my Bible with Deuteronomy 25, and I continued, because I was like, I can't settle in the dark. I mean, she slept and she was irritated, so I was like, I'm not here for her, she doesn't know me and all of that. How I knew she was from Kenya, obviously, is because we spoke after that, you know. So anywho, I settled in. I remember I received a video call from my friend Ulehu, and yeah, I didn't even sleep, you know, and you're like, okay, God, this is it, I'm gonna be independent. First of all, I don't know the whole independency thing, because hey, girl has been around her grandmother for the longest, you know. So I'm like, yeah, Palesa, you're on your own, child. Okay, anywho, I settled in, and then morning, so how they let us know what's going to happen, they tell us by emails, they correspond by emails, and then they let us know that we are to meet at a certain place. The bus is going to fetch us in the morning, then we are meeting there, okay, sharp, the training center. We went and we met there. Obviously the bus arrives in the morning, certain times, and they'll give you the times, and then they'll, you know, just let you know, and they give you everything. In fact, they handed us those things last night, like as to what time the bus gets through and stuff like that, while we're waiting for it to arrive. And in the morning, obviously you look at your schedule and you're like, okay, sharp. And then we went to training. That's when we met everyone. I think there was like 4 girls, including me and Andile, the girl I met from South Africa. And then yeah, the rest is Kenya, it's Tunisia. I met like wonderful souls, you know, like crazy people. It's so amazing how you can go to another country and you feel like people don't understand how being joyful and crazy and just, you know, letting go and letting loose is like, but you'd be so amazed, you know. So we got there and we just clicked, you know. Training was the best. I mean, we got there, and I remember how they used to call me Obonang of the team, you know, because they'd always say, oh my gosh, you're so beautiful, you know, we like your eyes, we like your energy, we like everything. So they'd call me that, you know. But anywho, yeah, we trained and they separated us to two teams because there's like a couple of us. And then obviously when you get to when you get to a new place all the time, you know, protocol observed. You need to be like, hi, my name is, I'm from, this is what I do, this is what I'm gonna offer. And the reason why I chose Qatar Airways is because of 1, 2, 3. So that's what went down. And then yeah, we did that. It was fun. So in my mind, I was like, you know, I don't want to let loose. First of all, it's not South Africa, child. Second of all, these people don't know me. Not that the people who know me, you know, it's hard to express myself. But I mean, you in another country. I mean, this, you know what they say about first impressions. So you need to, you know, give it. So after that, I gave it. You know, gave my pilot girl. And then yeah, it was nice. We continued training, and yeah, remember now I left Abantu, my family in South Africa, guys, and I'm like, shoo, it hasn't been easy, you know. They're still in my mind. I hadn't forgotten, but obviously I was taking everything that came at that time as it came, and I was enjoying my time. And yeah, now Ogren, we had bought her a phone that has video call. I installed WhatsApp before I left and everything. I showed her how to video call. Every day I'd get home and I'd video call her. I'm gaining connection, or she'd pick up. I don't know. It just didn't work, you know. So yeah, I remember I struggled, you know, half of the time I wanted to cry because I'm like, Kanchan. I remember Neo, a brother of mine, I was like, when you go home, just video call, you know. And then he'd video call for me so I can see Melly, and it was nice, but it was hard because I couldn't talk to them all the time. And my grand was worried because I remember it was the 20th, remember, so it was Christmas time, you know, it was Christmas time. And I remember on Christmas I couldn't even connect to them. I didn't even say hey, Merry Christmas, because we couldn't connect. And yeah, a lot was just happening because also that side network, we had to get the SIM card, you know, and also converting rands to Qataris. It was just a nightmare. But anywho, I mean, we live and we learn, and these experiences are there for a reason. So anywho, I then what happened? Okay, anywho, I then spent Christmas at work. I remember at work that day, and we played a nice game, you know, it was nice. And I went back home, but as the days go by, emotions, derailment, entanglement, all the ments were happening. I'm like, guys, can't, you know. Started being emotional like every day. I'm like, plus I can't get through to them. My grand doesn't know how to video call me and all of that. Even when I try, when she answers, you know, there's a lot that happens. I'm like, hey God, maybe I shouldn't be here. And so I started having or being flooded by emotions of like negativeness, you know, when you like, Palace, it's your dream, you felt what it's like, but again, now what are you getting? Because I mean, you know, plus you're far away from home. It's not like I could just walk to a neighbor and be like, hi. Plus this roommate of mine has not been the most welcoming person, and she stuck with that, you know. She carried on. She was very mean, like literally. And I chose to overlook that, because one thing about me is that if I give myself to you, like we share friendship or, you know, some sort of courtship or anything with the ships, you know, and you know me, and you know how I am when I'm sad, when I'm mad, when I'm angry, then it's another thing when you turn against me, because I'm like, why? But then if you don't know me, I'm like, dude, like you don't even have anything that you're holding against me. So if you don't like me because our spirits are irritating each other, or then I'm like, child, come on, it's not my, you know, it's not my cup of tea, and I'm not gonna play this game. I'm not even gonna wallow in it. I'm just gonna leave it. So yeah, I remember even discussing this with my fellow mates at work, and they're like, "Oh my gosh, she's so mean." And we've got like nice people. You know, when you get to a place, you expecting people to be nice. I mean, even if you are not genuinely a loving person or nice person, but at least like be cordial, be nice, be try. And you know, I'm not saying like me, but just be cordial, be a nice person. You know. But then I think that added to my stresses and my frustrations, because what's the use of going to training when you come back home, it's a nightmare, and you're like, I no, you know. Plus, you know, when you're there, you don't have anything, I mean, anybody to share things with, you know. Practically, your roommate becomes your family, your roommate becomes, and plus, it's your room, you know, it's your safe space, it's your sacred place. So that's where you need to feel like, you know what, shoo, and husa, and take it all in. But yeah, she was just not there for it. But anywho, I kept on feeling heavy, and I remember I was praying so hard. Like, if there's time I prayed, it was when I was in Qatar. I was like, God, you know what, pull through for me. But then I remember one morning, I'm not sure if it was the 20, no, it was the 2nd of Jan, I think. I was like, no, I'm not gonna do this. This is not for me. Let me go home. Because I remember before that I had managed to get through to my grandmother, and we spoke on a video call. And when I saw her, and I was like, what if things happen while I'm not home? How am I gonna fly back? I was like, nah, I'm going home. So this one morning on the 2nd of Jan, I remember it was 4 a.m. I resigned. Literally, I sent through an email to my manager and to everyone, and I was like, I'm going. I remember they were so shocked. They responded there and then. They're like, girl, when you wake up in the morning, like it's the morning, yes, it's 4 o'clock a.m., but then when you come to the office, come straight to the big HR offices and talk about this. We can't lose you. Girl, think about this. This is your dream, you know, because obviously while we were training, you'd say why you wanted to be here. And obviously they got a taste of my story as to how I got there. They're like, you worked so hard, you know, but plus I got along with everyone, like my trainers, my HR, like it was nice, the idealistic working environment that I've always been dreaming of, you know. And then I went to HR, and because HR was situated in the big airport, not in the training centers. And when I got there, I remember there was this white lady. She was also from South Africa. I forgot her name. I think it was Samantha. I'm not sure. But yeah, I remember how she was begging me. She's like, girl, go home, sort out your issues, come back. We can't lose you. I know how much you want this. I'm like, girl, I'm headstrong about this. I'm going home. Like, khumbule ekhaya ngendlini ngiyabuyela ekhaya. So she begged me anyways. Yeah, they tried, and they're like, go back, we still reserve a seat for you, come back when you're ready. I'm like, guys, I know when I get home after what I've been feeling, I will not come back. That much I know myself, I know Balesa, you know. And then they're like, okay, cool. Eventually they took in my resignation. I had to explain my story as to why I'm leaving. They took it in, and they're like, you don't even have to go to class, you're gonna leave on the 9th, because obviously there's a lot of things that we need to put in place. Okay, sharp. So I had resigned, so I had to live in Qatar and just float around, just wake up in the morning and just float, because they had given us money also, you know, to spend, like the Qataris, because when you get there, they give you like a lump sum of money to spend, you know, so that if you're still struggling with changing your rands into Qataris, then you're not stranded, you know. So I spent that. I remember we went to the museum there. We went to Monkey Tail, Monkey Tail with Kwanele, the lady I met when we landed. And I had fun. I just remember saying those couple of days that were left is for me to vacay, you know, to chill and explore. I'm like, God, you brought me here to vacay, you know. We did a lot. Qatar is a nice place. It's a beautiful place. And yeah, I remember I flew on the 9th. I'm not even sure if it was the 9th, yeah, but I think it was the 9th. I flew back home, and I remember my family didn't kind of like know, but I told them like, Garbodi 7, I'm coming back. They were shocked because they're like, what's happening? I had to even make up a story because I'm like, I know, you know, and stuff like that, but knowing very well that I'm doing it for them because I can't, you know, I can't function. And then I came back home. I remember when I came back home, obviously I'd left my job that I worked for like 3 years or so. It was not pleasant because I was fighting a lot with my manager. I don't know what was he holding against me. But when things don't work out, like in all spectrums, when you are just trying to just make things work and you're like, Lord, kwenzakalani? It's like you're fighting. I was listening to y'all's Izolo and just speaking about the spiritual fights. And this is what triggered me to do this video actually. When you don't know what is happening, like half of my life, the companies that I've worked for, I've always had clashes with the managers. And I'm like, Lord, what is it? Like, then there's also spirituality, and then there's also religion and culture and tradition. Then you're like, Lord, where am I? Like, I know I see things are running fast paced, like, but it's like when you are uzogijima, and you're ready to go embark on this journey. But when the whistle goes, people start running and you are standing there, you're like, okay, where am I going? So yeah, so anyways, I left so I got home. After getting home, obviously it was darker because I'm like, you're jobless, you got a car to pay, you got bills to pay, the child is there. I'm like, what is happening? I remember my grandma was so frustrated because she's like, Balisa, with my salary we can't pull through. I'm like, Gail, I need to find something. So I'm a type of person who'll go and drop off my CV, who'll like literally take a drive and just go to knock on doors and be like, you know what, I'm in need of this. I'm gonna stop this now and then I'm gonna continue because it's gonna be long and then I just want to break it down. So I'll do a part 1 and a part 2. Ciao.